Wexford beat your Offaly. I had a chance to watch some of this. Both teams coming in off a loss. A good victory for Wexford. I think it was tight for long spells. And Offaly, I think they went 3-1 down and then scored 3 points to 1 down and then went 1-3 to 3 ahead. Really good goal from Bushy and Kelly. And a player I thought stood out quite a lot early in the game was Charlie Mitchell. He'd scored a point off either side and then he set up that goal. How good can he be?
He's a good player, Shane. Yeah, he's about a year older than that kind of golden Kilcormac-Colotty generation that's coming through. But he's very, very good player. He was good against Kilkenny the week before. Got a lovely point from distance and was unlucky with one just after. I think he had 3 points, got fairly early yesterday. But then, like, a lad's on fire and then you can't get him the ball or you can't get him good ball. Like, he's probably only 18, 19. The ball coming in needs to be in his favour, like, because whoever you're marking is going to be physically a good bit bigger than you. That's just kind of natural when you're coming in at that age. But he's definitely a bright spark. The scoreline probably flatters us a small bit.
Really?
Just a small bit. I think we outscored Wexford 1-4 to 2 points in the closing stages, despite being down to 14 men, which is surprising from a Wexford point of view because they had Lee Chin on the pitch. He came in and made an instant impact. And Darragh Egan was just talking about how important it is to have that sort of X factor and trying to keep him fit. Like he didn't play much league last year. Remember, he had that hamstring problem. I think he probably exceeded expectations in the championship and ended up with an all-star nomination, given that he was struggling for large parts of the season. So keeping him fit is going to be hugely important. But I think David Nally got a right good free, had a good bit of topspin on it from just inside the Wexford 45, kind of pulled us back into it. But from my point of view, been within four of Kilkenny, been within a score of Wexford. That's heartening enough. Now we're still a bit off it. And even I was chatting to someone that was at the game yesterday, and even in the warm-ups, they were saying just a shooting drill that Wexford are doing, everybody was stepping into the ball because everything was 100 miles an hour at Liam McCarthy level, and we were doing a similar-ish kind of a drill, and just a little bit more ponderous and taking that touch and thinking you have time. You just don't have time. Jeez, I was looking at at some of the instances in the Cork and Limerick game yesterday. If your first touch is not on, God, it's like Shane, it's like there's 5 yards, right? And you take a touch, it's not in your hand, and it's just like, boom, everybody's in on top of you. It's amazing, even when the ball is around your feet as well. You get one chance and one chance only to get the ball in your hand. If it's not in your hand, 10 seconds later, it could be down the far end of the pitch. It's just, you have to be, a lot of it is concentration as well, but your touch has to be so on point nowadays in inter-county hurling. It's going to take us a while to get there, but as I said, heartening enough to be close to these teams in these games. And these are the highest caliber teams we're going to be playing this year, because we're going to be playing Division 2A hurling and Joe McDonagh hurling, which are both really competitive, but these games are priceless at this stage of the year.
And one final thing in terms of getting the ball in your hand. If you're a player, would you rather spend an extra half second having to control the ball or having that extra half second to take a look up? Because that's what it'll give you the option, or that's what it'll allow you to do. And that half second might allow you to dodge a tackle, might allow you to see you're out in terms of who the pass is. That's why it's so important. And it's something that, when you're a young lad and you're playing yourself, or there's plenty of young girls out there as well. Like, it's something you have to appreciate, but you won't when you're young. It's only maybe when you're a little bit older, if someone does actually get through to you, that you realize the value of it.
Wouldn't you love to, all the lessons that you learn, and, we're knocking on now, unfortunately, and our time is gone, but as players, shall we say, but wouldn't you love to have all those lessons? Why do you always have to make all the mistakes and do all the things wrong, and then a couple of years near the end of your career, it's like the penny has dropped and you realize you should be doing X, Y, and Z. That's why I just have so much nearly bewilderment looking at someone like David Clifford, who seems to just have the wisest head on a pair of really, really young shoulders. But as you say there, having the ball in your hand that half second earlier, just so many more options. But it's almost like now there's a bit of a panic. It's like sometimes with the touch, it's like players are converging, and that little bit of pressure maybe puts your touch off as well.
Yeah, Martin Furlong, what about a potential Chin, MacDonald, O'Connor full forward line? I think Egan might be looking into it. Now, Rory O'Connor, are you talking about Jack O'Connor, who's obviously got a good hand in him, or are you talking about Rory, Martin? Let us know there. I presume you're talking about Rory because of his pace inside. I don't think he's all that far away he's been making great progress according to Darragh Egan. You know, we're talking about the knee injury he had last year against Clare, and I think he injured it again when playing for St. Martin's. But do you know, actually, I think Ross Banville, in terms of like being a free taking option, he showed up again yesterday, so he might be an option there. Before the match, Darragh Egan, he was talking about Limerick, and he was talking about how you need a 60% return on scoring efficiency. And he had said, we had 40 shots last week, we scored 18 points. Laois had 30 shots and scored 20. But I mean, some of that comes back to getting the head up and just giving the ball to somebody who's in a better position. Because like Wexford over the last few years, a bit like Tip as well, the shots from 100 yards, and Clare again, the All-Ireland semi-final last year, teams who have a load of shots from 100 yards tend to be the teams that don't win games, especially when they're up against the best sides.
They're lower percentage shots. There's no point in saying any different. No matter how good of a ball striker you are, like they're just much lower percentage shots. That's why anything inside the 65, and probably if you're thinking about the poster here, probably the width of the post out from the post, if you get me. Again, that there's an area there. It's almost like within football, it's anything inside the D or whatever. But within, like, there's such a high percentage of shots go over within. There's some chances that go begging within those scoring areas. Like, it's criminal to miss within those areas, but it's also criminal to be taking shots from 100 yards and be expecting them to go over. That's why I know that you want Tipperary to work the ball up the field. And for the halfbacks, generally, unless they're on the front foot, to put a ball into the forward, because the percentage chance of you scoring if the forward gets a decent touch or it's a good ball in, he's a much better chance of scoring. And they're not being smart with you. Nearly every lad that's up in the forwards is up there for a reason, because they're a killer in front of the goals. And there's a reason why most lads are in the half back line or in the full back line, because they're not a killer in front of the goals.